Hello, this is Everybody Fashion. I'm Nat's Breakfast Channel at YouTube. And so, it's been quite a I think it was 2014 was the last time we heard anything new from Striker, which are a Canadian metal band to come to be a part of the new wave or traditional heavy metal movement, and which has been spawning or has been standing since 2007 or even as far as late 90s or early 2000s, really, when it goes back to bands such as Ram, Wolf, Bullet, and Enforcer, and so forth. But with Striker, they've released about 3 albums also, besides the City of Gold being released in 2014, Eyes of the Night, and there is another album there that I think was Armed to the Teeth, I believe, is the other album. But with City of Gold, they kind of were showing some new tricks a bit. And that definitely can also be present on the new album that we'll be talking about, which is called Stand in the Fire. But on City of Gold, they kind of progressed because of normally they would sing about your typical shtick and stuff, and mostly they were singing about beer and such, which was very to be desired a bit. The lyrics weren't not as nearly as good or as strong, especially even with music videos, but the guitar work was always there, the musicianship. But on City of Gold, they definitely showed some progression. Now, that definitely also can be said for this album, Stand in the Fire, which will be released on February the 5th. The City of Gold was the last album they would actually release on an actual record label, which I believe was Napalm Records they were with, if I am correct. With Stand in the Fire, they decided to release this independently because they felt that that they weren't getting anywhere. I guess in terms of musicianship, they wanted, I guess with the record label, they felt kind of a little strained, I guess. Like they felt like that they weren't making the record that they wanted to make, which is a little preposterous, but I guess it might be true with this album. They definitely kind of show a lot of different sides of the band. There's a lot to be said about this in some way. There's a lot of interesting parts about the sound that's very different from some of the past albums by Striker, and they probably they do push the envelope a bit. But we'll get to some of the songs that I feel that definitely pushes the envelope a bit to different standards or something. However, let's actually get to the first track of the sound that I do want to talk about, which is called Phoenix Lights, which of course is a song about the 1997 incident that featured a UFO. So they decided to, a little bit of it's kind of a sci-fi take, but not really. It's definitely based off a true story. But it's definitely a good way to start the album anyway. It's definitely got a pretty good riff, pretty good musicianship, definitely good writing here. Kind of puts you almost in the eyes of the person who witnessed that incident. Definitely pretty good. Let's definitely get to Out for Blood, which is track number 2. This is a song that kind of pushes the envelope a bit. It's definitely a bit of a speed metal song, but it introduces the saxophone. Yes, so the saxophone solo, which ends up dueling along with the guitar. Probably the most little interesting in some ways. I was definitely surprised to hear them really go for that. And I guess really the record they really kind of show that no really restraints here. They definitely do go out in almost in different spectrum and just different areas that I guess that they definitely didn't kind of show a bit on the, or kind of go into on some of their past albums. And there's really even a song on here that I can think of that really talks about beer. But also there's other good ones right here, like Too Late, which is definitely a melodic hard rock song, actually, or bit not too bad. But The Iron Never Lies also is a pretty good one to talk about, which is has some interesting stuff on there, kind of having in the middle of the song there's a kind of a melodic break there, more like just a lot more melodic, almost kind of ballady a bit. But we'll get to the song on here that is a legitimate ballad. But let's also go on to track 6, which is called Escape from a Shred City, which is a instrumental. And of course with the title called Escape from Shred City, it's definitely a shredding song. Though, when listening to it, I can't help but picture almost a scene for like a video game or some sort. It's almost got a song that can be used in a soundtrack for like even like a racing game or some sort, or kind of, or even an anime type game or something like Mega Man or something. It's just got that feel to it, that almost like atmosphere to which I just couldn't help. It's definitely pretty good as well. It's also there's also some of the ones on here that are pretty good. Outlaw's alright, Locked In, not to be confused with the Judas Priest song, and yet there's another song after this one that boasts another title that Judas Priest used, which is called United. Yes, but do not be confused with the song of the same name. But still not bad, but Better Times has got to be one of the better songs on here as well. Definitely pretty good in places. But when I said that there's a ballad song on this album, there is, and it's the last song on this one, which is track 11. It's called One Life. It's definitely the ballad of this album. It's actually a very well done ballad. Definitely pretty good as well with I don't know who the singer's name is. I could always go to my computer, but I don't want to waste too much time. Really, that's another thing about this album as well, is the singer who's got a really good voice. But on this one, he really lets himself shine through it. And even within the last parts of the song, when it builds up to just the bit of a heavy song as well in the end. Almost a little power metal in places, but not too much. And even with City of Gold, they were kind of showing their more power metal side. And with this one, they just kind of almost go in different directions here and there, and it's all well executed. So with that all said, it's definitely a little diverse album by Stryker. It's definitely shows a little different variety, a little bit just them kind of progressing a bit within the with the writing, and I think this is probably one of Stryker's most adventurous albums a bit. While there's some points that are not as good as some, it still is a very well put together album. I definitely will give it a 8 out of 10. I think it's an 8 out of 10. Some might say it's a 7.9. To me, it's an 8 out of 10. It's definitely a pretty well put together album. They definitely took some risks, but I think it paid off. So, with that said, good album. This is Free Fashion saying, and I am out, and I'll be back with, who knows, maybe another review. Who knows there's a lot of stuff that's going to be released in February, but I'm going to shut up. Later.